Hi guys, today's question is string interleaving problem. This is a very good question and in fact it has the tag Google in interview bit. The question states that one string should be interleaving of the two other strings. What does interleaving mean? The interleaved string should have all the characters of the other two strings and the order of characters in both the strings should be preserved. Note that the interleaved string will have all the characters in string 1 and in string 2, not less number of characters and not more number of characters. Let's see some examples. If the first two strings given to us are ABX and MBN, then what would be the third string which would be interleaving of these two strings? Now these strings in green can be the third strings which will return true, and the strings in red will be the strings that will return false. That is, these strings are interleaving of these two strings and these strings are not interleaving of these two strings. Let's go through them one by one. If you notice, ABX, MBN has the same order as in these two strings. Similarly, here also you can see AM, BB, XN. The order is preserved. Now, it is not necessary that always the first string should start. The second string can also start. Okay, so M character is okay. Then this B is coming from second string. Then this A is coming. Then B, X, B, N. Right? So the order is preserved. It's fine. Similarly, here also order is preserved. It's fine. Let's go through these examples. Here there is one less character. N is not present. Here there is one extra character. A is present. Okay, so these two are not interleaving strings. And if you see these two, the order is not preserved. Here the order should be ABX. The B should come before X. The order is not correct. Similarly, over here the order is not correct. I hope you have understood the question now. Let's try to come up with solution. Let's consider this example to build up our solution. So the first thing that we should check is that the length of this biggest string should be equal to length of first string plus length of second string. Only then it will be interleaving of these two strings. If the number of characters is less or more, then it will not be interleaving exactly, right? So that is the basic case, right? Next thing, what can we do? Now we can maybe go through the third string, that is the biggest string, character by character, and see whether that character is coming from first string or from second string, right? So let's try doing that. We'll go character by character, okay? So here we can see that in the biggest string, the first character is A, okay? As we can see that this A might be coming from first string, right? So we know that this is coming from here, okay. Now if we check whether these two strings, the leftover, that is BX and MBN, can interleave to the rest of the string, then our answer will be true, otherwise it will be false, because we know that this A is contributing anyway, right. So what will that be? So if we consider BX, MBN and MBBNX, if the answer to this problem will be true, then we know that the answer to this problem will also be true, right? Now let's see. Now this character M is coming from second string, which is the first character, right? Now suppose if this was not M, it was some other character, say it was some Y, right? Then the answer would have been false anyway, because we know that it should be coming from the first characters, right? Even if it was N, then the answer would be false, because then the order would not be preserved, right? Yes, there is N over here, but for it to be in same order, this character should come from either first character of this string or first character of this string, okay? If it is still not clear, it's completely fine, it will be clearer, okay? So now we know that this M is coming from this M, right? Now let's check for rest of the characters, okay? How will we do that? So here it is BX, here it is BN, here it is BBNX. So we know that if the answer to this problem is true, then the answer to this problem will be true, right? Now let's see the first character now, this P. Now it becomes little tricky. This P could be coming from either first string or from second string, since the first characters in both the strings is B, right? So now we have to consider two cases. What if it is coming from first string? What if it is coming from second string? So now let's do that. If this P is coming from first string, then we should consider what subproblem? X, Bn and Bnx. If it is coming from second string, then what should we consider? We should consider Bx, N and Bnx, right? Now again this B is coming from here, so it will be x and nx. Now it will be true because x and nx. Here if we see, this b is coming from here, x and nx. Now another thing to note over here is that these two problems are actually same. Although they are coming from different cases, these two are same, right? To explain this more, let's take one more example. What if the strings were 2x, 2x and then 4 times x, right? Then this x can be coming from either first string or second string. So we will have to consider two cases, right? So if it was coming from first string, it will be x, double x and triple x. If it was coming from second string, then it will be xx, x and triple x. Actually, if we see, these cases are same, right? Now again, this will lead to two different cases, two different cases, two different cases, two different cases and so on, right? So yes, like this, by matching character by character, we can write a recursive solution that if one character is matching, let's check for rest of the characters, right? But what will be the time complexity? So if we see, it is making like a tree and each tree is branching twice, right? It is branching to two subproblems and we from the biggest string, right? So the time complexity of this will be 2 power n, where n is the length of the biggest string. But since there are some overlapping subproblems like over here, and similarly you will find more overlapping problems if you form this entire tree, we can use dynamic programming. We will use the exact same logic and we will actually convert this solution into dynamic programming. Let's see how. As you can see, I have formed a 2D matrix to come up with DP solution. We will be using bottom-up manner, that is, we will first come up with solutions to smaller subproblems and we will use those answers to come up with solutions to bigger subproblems. And then finally we will come up with a solution. Okay, let me show how. First, to understand what does this matrix actually denote? What does each box in this matrix denote? Okay, so if I am at this box actually means I am considering the subproblem of having strings AB and MB. So if I have AB and MB, now a very important doubt that comes is, so AB and MB can obviously not interleave to this big string, right? So how many characters are there in these strings? There are 2 characters here and 2 characters here, right? So 2 plus 2 is 4. So we will see if these 2 strings can interleave to 4 characters of the bigger string. Okay. Similarly, if you are considering this box, then the 2 strings will be A and MBN. So there is 1 character in this string and there are 3 characters in this string. So this plus this is 4. So again we will see if these 2 strings are interleaving to these 4 characters. Okay. Now let's see if we consider, say, this subproblem. Then it is A and MB. A and MB, then we see first 3 characters. Similarly, if we see over here ABX, MBN, and this box will give us our final solution because it will lead to 3 plus 3, 6. That is the number of characters that we have, right? Also, note that I have added an extra row and an extra column as we do in most of the DP problems because it is very easy to come up with initial conditions. What are those? When one of the strings is empty, it is very easy to come up with the answers to the first row and the first column, and then we can use that to build the rest of the grid. And especially in this problem, since the number of characters to be considered from this string is equal to the sum of the number of characters that are considered in these 2 strings, you will notice that it will be fairly easy if you use zero indexing. You will see it how. Okay, so let's consider the first box. If both the strings are empty, then how many number of characters are we considering? 0 plus 0, that is, we are considering an empty string. So obviously the answer will be true over here. Okay, so this is done. Now let's start filling our first row. The initial condition for the first row will be m of ij. Actually we can write m of 0j will be equal to m of 0j minus 1. Why am I saying that? So here, as you can see, this m and a don't match, right? So here it will be false only, right? Here also b and m don't match, so it will be false only. Here also n and b don't match, so it will be false only. But consider that the third string that was given to us was mbn and abx. Okay, then we would compare these 2 characters. If it is true, only then, so this formula will apply only if these 2 characters are same. So if these 2 characters are same, then we see the left box. Why do we do that? I will explain now. So if these two were equal, I would write true over here, right? Now consider this B, okay? So now these two B have also become equal. So here it is 2 characters. So again I will consider 2 characters over here, right? So since these two are equal, I can just write true, is it? But will it always be the case? Now consider, what if the string was ABN, okay? So although these two characters are equal, we have to check the character before that, right? Even if this character can contribute to the string, we have to match the characters before that, right? If these two are equal, we check the left box. Were the answers previous to that true? Only then it will be true, right? I hope that makes sense. Let's go back to our original problem. Just to write the initial conditions, if this string is say A, this string is B, and our final string given to us is C, and we use the variables I to go over the rows and J to go over the columns, then if A of I minus 1 is equal to C of I minus 1, then M of Ij, or I can just say I comma 0, will be equal to M of I minus 1, 0, right? So this is the initial condition for column. The initial condition for row will be if B of J minus 1 is equal to C of J minus 1, then M of, since it's the first row, I can just write this as 0, 0 J will be equal to M of 0 J minus 1. Note that I am using I minus 1, C minus 1, J minus 1, J minus 1 because these are all 0 indexed, right? Let's fill this column. AA is equal, so we see one row up. Without this AA, it was true, right? So I can just write true. Now let's see B and M, they are not equal, so I just write false, right? X and B not equal, so I'll just write false, okay? Rest all the cases it will be false, else false. I hope I don't have to mention it, okay? Because already I'm out of space, so else it will be false. Only if these two cases it can be true, okay? Now let's try to form our general solution. Now for each of these boxes, we are considering I characters from A and J characters from B, right? So if I am over here, J value will be what? 0, 1, 2. So I am considering 2 characters from B and 0, 1, 2, 2 characters from A, and that is right. So how many characters do I have to consider from C? I plus J, right? And since this is 0th index, I will be comparing C of I plus J minus 1. This is actually a very important step. I hope it makes sense to you, because I have to consider the number of characters that is equal to the number of characters in both the strings in that sub problem. And since this is 0th index, I will do I plus J minus 1. Okay. So first I will compare the value to A of I minus 1. This case actually means that the character in C is coming from the first string, okay? So I will do M of Ij will be equal to M of I minus 1j. Why is that? So ith character is anyway coming from that string, right? So I have to see without that row. So I go one row up, without that character, what was the answer, right? When we dry run it, it will be clearer. This is just to write the general solution, okay? So this is if the characters were matching in A and C, okay? Now if the character in C, that is I plus J minus 1, is matching from character of B is equal to B of J minus 1, okay? Now it can be either of two cases. The character could come either from the first string or from the second string, right? So if it would have come from the first string, then it would have become true, right? So now when I do, I have to mention over there that if the answer is already true, it's okay. So I take an OR with the already present answer and I do M of I J minus 1. This case means that the character in C is coming from string B, and so we see the rest of the characters in that string, okay? So J minus 1. When we walk through, it will be clearer. So now let's try run this algorithm and see if it works. I have written down the I and the j values 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. Let's start with the first box. Okay. So over here, I value is 1, j value is also 1. So how many characters should we consider from C? I plus j, 2. Since this is 0th index, 2 minus 1, we have to consider C of 1, which is M over here, right? So C of 1, which is M, matches B character, right? It is not coming in this case since it is not equal to A. So it comes in this case. So what do I do? Initially it would have been false. So I do false or M of I j minus 1, okay? Also note that in my solution, I am assuming that initially all the boxes are false, okay? But if you don't want to do like that, if you don't want to write or, you can divide this into 3 conditions. First condition will be if the character is matching to A, and if it is not matching to B, it will come directly from one row up. If it is matching from B and not matching from A, it will come from one left column. And the third case will be if it is coming from both of them, then you have to take OR of these 2 values, okay? So instead of doing that, I have just reduced it to 2 cases. And I am assuming that initially all the values are false, okay? So here I will have to do false and I will have to see the answer on the left, okay? So here it was true. So true or false, it will be true, right? And let's see if that is right or wrong. So here the subproblem that we were considering was AM and 2 characters from here, AM. So yes, it will be true because AM is interleaving of A and M. So yeah, till now it works. Let's come to our next subproblem. Now our I value is still 1, j value has become 2. How many characters from C? 1 plus 2, that is 3, minus 1, it will be C of 2. C of 2 is what? B. So we are considering A, M, B, and from here A, from here MB, right? Now again this B does not come from A of I minus 1, right? It comes from B of j minus 1. So we will see the value on left. Since this was true, we just write true over here. Okay, so if this value is equal to this B, we just see one value towards left. Now since this was true, this is true. And that makes sense because A and B is interleaving of A and MB, right? Now let's come to the next box. Here I value is 1 only, j value has become 3. The subproblems is A and MBN. Here we have to see 1 plus 3, that is 4, minus 1, 3. So C of 3 is what? B. So now we are considering A, M, B, B, right? Now this B is not coming from A or from B, right? Here it was A, here it was N. B is not matching A or N, so it will be equal to the initial condition only, which was false. So it did not enter any of these 2 cases, okay? Now let's come over here. Now here I value is 2, so our first string is EB that we are considering, and here j value is 1. So in our subproblem here the second string is M, okay? Here it will be 2 plus 1, 3, 3 minus 1, 2. So we have to consider first 3 characters A, M, B, okay? C of 2B is coming from actually A of I minus 1, okay, right? So it is coming from here. So the value will come from one row up, M of I minus 1j. Since this is true, this value will be true. And let's see if that is true or not. AB, M, A, M, B. And that's right, A, M, B is interleaving of A, B and M. If you have to understand further how it is working, just see like this, that this B actually came from here. So we are seeing the subproblem without this B character, right? So what would have been the subproblem? A, M and A, M, right? I hope it is making sense to you. This is similar to the recursive tree that we've drew, okay? So we're just not considering this BB and we are considering the subproblems A, M and A, M, right? So we're getting the value from one row up. Now let's come to this box over here. I value is 2, J value is 2, C value becomes 2 plus 2, which is 4. So we consider C of 3, right? Our subproblems become AB, MB and AM, BB, right? Now this B, that is the last B, is coming from here, A of I minus 1 or from here. So it can come from both the cases. Let's see over here. So if we see that it came from here, the value would have been true, right? So if we got the value from one row up, it would be true. Or if we can get from here also, in both the cases it is anyway true, so it will be true, okay? here if we see AMBB is interleaving of AB and MB, so it works till now. Let's come to our next box. So over here I value is 2, J value is 3, so 2 plus 3 5, 5 minus 1 is 4. Okay, so the string that we consider are AB and MBN, and from there we are considering AMBBN. So 2 from here, 3 from here, total 5. Okay, so let's see. So here this N is coming from here, right? It's not going in this case, it's going in this case. So we consider the left value. So since that was true, this will be true. And is that true? AB, okay, AB, MB, and yes, this is interleaving of these two strings. So the answer should be true. Till now it is working fine, and only one box is false, rest all are true. Let's quickly come to the next box. Over here I value is 3, J value is 1. So 3 plus 1, 4 minus 1, 3, right? So the subproblems that we are considering are A, B, X and M. So 4 characters A, M, B, B. We have to compare C of 3, which is B. Okay, so this B is not coming from here or from here. So it won't enter any of these two cases. So the answer will be false. And that is correct because C, A, M, B, B is not interleaving of these. X is not even present over here, right? So it works till now. Let's come to our next case. Over here I is 3, J value is 2, C will be 3 plus 2 minus 1, so it will be 4. So here it will be A, B, X, M, B, and we have to consider A, M, B, B, N. So 5 values we have to consider, right? Is this N coming from here or here? No, right? So this N does not match X or B. So it is not going to enter any of these conditions, and the answer over here will be false only. And if we see, that is correct because X is not even present, so this cannot be interleaving, right? Now let's come over here. Here now J value has finally become 3. So now we have come to our main problem, A, B, X, M, B, N, A, M, B, B, and X, right? Now here this X value is actually coming from here. So we are in the first case. So we can get the value from the top. Since this was true, our final answer will be true, which is correct since this string is interleaving of these two strings. To understand more, if we just remove this XX, then yes, we get the true answer since this is true. AB, MBN is this subproblem, right? I hope after dry run you have understood the solution completely. What will be the time complexity now? So if L1 is the length of one string and L2 is the length of another string, the time and the space complexity will be L1 into L2, which is much less than 2 power n complexity that we saw earlier. Please let me know your feedback since it helps me improve my videos, and I am planning a lot of videos in near future. So if you want me to cover any particular topic, please leave it in comments below. I will definitely consider making a video on that. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. It will mean a lot to me. Thank you.